There is something about getting into a car, pointing it toward the horizon, and simply driving that speaks to something deep in the human spirit. No fixed schedule, no crowded airport, no security line, just the road ahead, the landscape changing around you, and the particular freedom that comes from knowing that the journey itself, not just the destination, is the entire point. America was built for road trips. Its highways stretch across landscapes of such extraordinary variety and beauty that driving through this country is, in itself, one of the great travel experiences on Earth. Today, we are going to take you on the most beautiful road trips in America, the drives that will stay with you for the rest of your life. Let's begin on the California coast, because the Pacific Coast Highway is, by almost universal agreement, one of the most beautiful drives in the world. The Pacific Coast Highway, Highway 1, runs along the California coastline for over 600 miles, from the rugged northern coast near Mendocino all the way south to the beaches of Los Angeles. But the stretch that most people consider the most extraordinary, the section that appears in paintings and photographs and films so often that it has become one of the defining images of American landscape, is the Big Sur coast. Here, the Santa Lucia Mountains fall directly into the Pacific Ocean with an almost violent drama, cliffs of extraordinary height dropping straight into the sea, with the highway clinging to the edge of those cliffs in a ribbon of asphalt that seems, at times, to be suspended in mid-air between the mountains and the water. Driving the Pacific Coast Highway through Big Sur on a clear day is a sensory experience, unlike almost anything else available to a traveler in America. The scale of it is overwhelming, the cliffs, the ocean, the sky, all operating at a magnitude that makes the car feel very small and the world feel very large. Pull over at one of the many viewpoints, and you will find yourself standing at the edge of a cliff looking down at waves breaking against rocks 100 feet below, with the Pacific stretching westward to the horizon and beyond. On the right morning, with the marine layer lifting, and the light coming gold across the water, it is genuinely one of the most beautiful things you will ever see. The drive takes most people 2 to 3 days to do properly, with stops at Carmel by the Sea, the extraordinary Bixby Creek Bridge, the elephant seal colony at San Simeon, and the bohemian town of Big Sur itself, where the forest comes down to the water and the world feels quieter and more beautiful than almost anywhere else on Earth. From the California coast, let's travel east to a drive that offers a completely different kind of beauty. The Going to the Sun Road in Glacier National Park, Montana. Going to the Sun Road is 50 miles long. It crosses the Continental Divide at Logan Pass, at an elevation of over 6,800 feet, and it offers views that are so extraordinary, so consistently, and overwhelmingly beautiful for its entire length, that many people consider it the most scenic drive in America. The road was carved into the side of the Rocky Mountains, over more than a decade of construction, a feat of engineering that was, at the time, considered almost impossible, and the result is a drive that winds through alpine meadows, past glacial lakes of impossible blue-green color, beneath hanging gardens of wildflowers that cling to vertical rock faces, and along the edges of cliffs that drop away into valleys of breathtaking depth. The wildlife along Going to the Sun Road is extraordinary. Mountain goats pick their way along rock faces above the road. Bears move through the meadows in the early morning. Bighorn sheep stand at the roadside with an indifference to traffic that suggests they have been here considerably longer than the road. And the glaciers themselves, the ancient rivers of ice that give the park its name, are visible from multiple points along the drive, their blue-white surfaces reflecting the sky above them. The road is only open for a few months each year, typically from late June to mid-October, because the snowfall at this elevation is so extreme that keeping it clear year-round is impossible, which means that driving it requires planning, but that planning is entirely worth it. There are few drives in America that reward the effort of getting there more completely than Going to the Sun Road. Now let's travel to the American Southwest, to a landscape so extraordinary that it seems almost impossible that it exists on the same planet as ordinary daily life. The Monument Valley Navajo Tribal Park Drive, Utah and Arizona. The approach to Monument Valley is one of the great slow reveal moments in American travel. You are driving through open desert, flat, red, stretching in every direction, and then, gradually, shapes begin to appear on the horizon. At first they look like distant clouds. Then, as you get closer, they resolve into something else entirely, enormous columns of red sandstone rising hundreds of feet from the desert floor, standing alone in the landscape with a dignity and a presence that is almost impossible to describe. These are the Mittens and Merrick Butte and the Totem Pole, the formations that have appeared in so many Western films, that they have become the defining image of the American frontier landscape. The drive through Monument Valley takes you through 17 miles of unpaved road, accessible only with a four-wheel drive vehicle, or as part of a guided tour, past these extraordinary formations, through washes and across open desert, with the changing light of the day transforming the landscape constantly. In the morning, the formations are deep red against a pale sky. At midday, they seem almost to glow against the bright blue above them. At sunset, they turn extraordinary shades of orange and purple and gold, colors so vivid and so saturated that photographs almost never do them justice. And at night, with no light pollution for miles in any direction, the stars above Monument Valley are among the most extraordinary skies visible from anywhere on Earth. From the ancient landscape of the Southwest, let's travel to the American South, to a drive that follows one of the oldest roads in America through one of its most beautiful landscapes. The Natchez Trace Parkway, from Natchez, Mississippi to Nashville, Tennessee. The Natchez Trace Parkway follows the route of an ancient trail, used for thousands of years by Native American peoples, and then by settlers, traders, and travelers moving through the wilderness of the American South, for 444 miles through Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee. The road is managed by the National Park Service, which means there are no commercial vehicles, no billboards, and no traffic lights for its entire length. It is one of the most peaceful drives in America, a road that feels completely apart from the modern world. The landscape along the Natchez Trace is beautiful in a quiet, unhurried way. Ancient hardwood forests line the road for much of its length, trees so old and so large that they form a canopy overhead that filters the light into something green and golden and extraordinary. Wildflowers bloom along the roadsides in spring. In autumn, the colors of the changing leaves, the reds and oranges and golds of the southern hardwoods, are spectacular. And the historical sites along the route, ancient Native American mounds, Civil War battlefields, historic inns and landmarks, give the drive a depth and a resonance that goes far beyond its physical beauty. The Natchez Trace is not a drive for people in a hurry. It has a speed limit of 50 miles per hour for its entire length, enforced by the Park Service, and it rewards the traveler who slows down, pulls over, walks the short trails to the historical sites, and allows the particular beauty of this landscape to work on them at its own pace. Let's travel north now, to a drive that offers some of the most dramatic coastal scenery in America outside of California. The Acadia All-American Road in Maine. Maine's Acadia National Park sits on Mount Desert Island, a rocky, forested island on the Maine coast, where the Atlantic meets the landscape with a particular drama and intensity that is unlike anything on the warmer coast further south. The Park Loop Road, a 27-mile circuit through the park, passes through some of the most extraordinary coastal scenery in the eastern United States. Thunder Hole, where waves force air through a narrow channel in the rocks and produce a sound that can be heard from miles away. Sand Beach, a small, perfect crescent of sand that is extraordinary for its rarity in this landscape of granite and forest. The summit of Cadillac Mountain, which at 1,700 feet is the highest point on the eastern seaboard, and the first place in the United States to see the sunrise on most mornings of the year. The drive through Acadia is spectacular in every season. In summer, the forests are deep green and the ocean sparkles in the long northern light. In autumn, which comes early to Maine, the colors of the changing leaves against the blue of the Atlantic create a visual combination of extraordinary beauty. And in winter, when most visitors have gone and the park is quiet, and often dusted with snow, the landscape has a stark and powerful beauty that is entirely different from the warmth of the summer months. And finally, let's travel to a drive that is unlike anything else on this list, and unlike almost anything else available to a road traveler anywhere in the world. The Going to the Sun Road's lesser-known counterpart, the Beartooth Highway, from Red Lodge, Montana to the northeast entrance of Yellowstone National Park. The Beartooth Highway climbs to an elevation of nearly 11,000 feet, making it one of the highest highways in America, and the views from its upper sections are simply extraordinary. You are driving through an alpine world that most Americans have never seen, above the tree line, through fields of snow that persist year-round at this elevation, past lakes of deep blue that reflect the sky with extraordinary clarity. The road switchbacks up the face of the Beartooth Plateau in a series of turns that are dramatic without being dangerous, and at each turn, the view behind you grows more extraordinary. At the top, you are in a landscape that feels genuinely remote, genuinely wild, in a way that few places accessible by road in America can match. The wind at this elevation is constant and powerful. The sky is closer and bluer than it is at lower altitudes. And the silence, apart from the wind, is complete. From the summit plateau, the road descends through the volcanic landscape of the Yellowstone region, past geothermal features, through forests of lodgepole pine, and finally into the extraordinary world of Yellowstone itself. The Beartooth Highway is only open from late May to mid-October, closed by snow for the rest of the year, but for those who time their visit correctly, It offers a driving experience that is genuinely unlike anything else in America. Rare, dramatic, overwhelming in its scale and its beauty, and completely, utterly unforgettable. These road trips, the Pacific Coast Highway, going to the Sun Road, Monument Valley, the Natchez Trace, Acadia, and the Beartooth Highway, are 6 of the most beautiful drives in America. Each one offers something completely different. Each one will show you a version of this country that you cannot see any other way. And each one will remind you of something that is easy to forget in the rush of daily life, that America is an extraordinary place, vast and varied, and endlessly surprising, and that sometimes, the best way to see it is simply to get in a car and drive.